Hello and welcome to another webinar with Autoflow. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill, and what a privilege today. I get to play host to a man who has been host to so many voices in the automotive repair industry, Carm Capriotto. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Craig.
This is good. This is really a very meaningful webinar today. Carm has something of a mission here as we are looking at a language shift in our industry. We asked that question earlier in some of our posts, and you saw it in the registration forms. Do you still use the word mechanic to describe your staff? Hey, Carm, in our transmission shop for a long time, we called them transmission specialists.
Love you,
Were we
Craig.
ahead of the time?
Love you.
I think that's the only area I think transmission specialists were ahead of anything.
Yeah.
But no, thank you so much for joining us on this last day of work before we break for the Thanksgiving holiday. I really believe this is going to be a topic that's worth chewing on as you take your break. I've heard Carm give this presentation live in front of a large audience. He's done this multiple times throughout the country. It is genuinely a gift to have him here to do that with us today and our audience here, our wonderful clients at Autoflow. I do want to mention the poll we had in our registration form, and it was interesting results in this poll. I always like to share those, and I will say this. We asked, are you already using language from The Rise? That is the title for Carm's presentation. And 11.1% of you said, yes, we are. And that's actually great to see. 38.9% of you said, not yet. But then 50%, a full half, said, I wasn't aware of this, which is why perfect audience for you today, Carm.
It is. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Craig. Hey, I'm honored to be here. Autoflow is such a great company. By the way, Chris Cloutier, you and the entire team. And of course, you're on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network. You're with your show, Speak Up. So glad that you are part of our continuing episodic education thing for our industry.
Beautiful.
And yeah, so I've been around the country, let's say a dozen times in the last year, giving this speech. And the positivity that has come from it, Craig, has been, it just continues to make me improve it and go out and keep giving this and always improving. So I'm ready.
All right, Carm, take it away, my friend.
And so why am I wearing a chef's jacket? Yes. Did you all know that lunch was going to be served? Maybe not. But if you could put up my first slide, I'd like to just get going on this entire declaration that I have written. And it's easy for you to get this at the end of the presentation. I will share with you the way to get it. But this whole thing, this entire, I just want to get my slides moving forward. It started by Matt Fonslow, who's also got a podcast on our network. He calls me and he says, hey, Carm, you got to watch The Bear. And I says, I don't have time to watch The Bear. And he goes, you got to watch The Bear. 2 weeks later, he calls me. He said, did you watch The Bear? And I said, no, I didn't watch The Bear. So I finally watched The Bear because I didn't want Matt to keep calling me. 20 minutes in, the original Beef House of Chicagoland. 20 minutes in, I stopped it. I put the unit on pause and I wrote down this word, chef. Then I said, what's our word if that's their word? Chef versus cook. I'm watching Carmy. Oh my God, Carmy. I love it. My daughter Tracy said it's always Matt Fonslow's fault, and it usually is. But I'm watching Carmy. He's dressed in his whites. He's standing up in this very dirty, ugly backroom sandwich shop kitchen that his brother just willed to him. And he goes to a gentleman standing by an oven. And he says, hey, chef, can you cook the roast beef for tomorrow? And he looked at him kind of in shock. And I was wondering, why did he say he was why was he so upset, or not upset, but moved by what Carmy said? Chef, could you cook the roast beef for tomorrow? And he looked back at him and he said, yes, chef, I can. He goes, thank you, chef. And that was the magic moment for me that started this entire declaration, because I noticed that Carmy was in an environment he wasn't happy about. He wanted a little rise to go on there. He wanted to lift some professionalism of their cooks, and he wanted them to be known as chefs. And so I started to do some crazy research on chefs. You know what it takes to be a top chef? A culinary education, meeting the basics, starting in entry-level positions, apprenticing, studying different cuisines, stamina, continuously learning, networking. Does it sound familiar, folks? Does it just feel like it's what we do? And think of the different titles that are going on inside of that industry. Executive chef, number one person. Sous chef, it's the second in command. The fry chef, the grill chef, the head chef. But they all have one thing in common. It's the professionalism of the word chef. And so as I wrote down, chef, what's our word? I started to really get enamored. How can we find a word that means and has some, priority in our industry of mechanics? So I started to do this cook versus chef, mechanic versus professional. How do I come up? How do I make this thing work? And we know what Hollywood does to us. Our image from Hollywood is the worst it could possibly ever be. If you disagree with me, you're not watching movies or TV, because next time you see Law and Order, watch that their next perpetrator works at Joe's ugly garage, and then they go there and he's all greased up. And we just don't have the kind of image that the outsiders see in us. So I know, Craig knows, Autoflow knows, we have professionals in our industry, leveled up professionals. These are the top tier people. I've been in those shops. I know different. Consumers don't. A lot of consumers that have never been to these places or never feel the professionalism in some of the really nice places, we're at fault for all of that. So part of a whole thing that hit me overall was that we are not a trade. Stop saying we're a trade. We are a professional industry, skilled engineers, and what we have is a career. I don't care what you think. Well, I'm just a mechanic. No, you've got a career in the professional automotive service business. And we've got to get this message out to our parents, and you name the educators from college and in high school, to stop calling us a trade. Now you see the list on my right side: electrician, plumber, welder, HVAC technician, and iron worker. They call them trades. You don't want a college debt? Go get a skilled trade. No, how about you go get a skilled career? And so part of this whole entire language shift and feeling much more good about the professionalism of our industry is to get the words changed that will have a difference for the people on the outside looking in. So there's been unbelievable evolution of job titles. And I've done research. I mean, I think if you look at this presentation, you'll say, hey, Carm went deep on this thing. Salespeople are called account executives. Coffee maker is a barista. An Italian word for make me some espresso. A machinist is a precision tool maker. Marketing manager is a growth manager. Think of these fancy titles. I get business cards at shows all the time, and I look at them and I say, there's a neat new cool title. Who thought of that one? AI? Who knows? Copywriter, content strategist. So this vision is it's time has come for us to stop shaking off the fact that, Carm, it's just a language shift. No, it's not. It's a lift in our professionalism. Mm-hmm. So the acceptance of our industry as a quality trade has been challenged for a long, long time. Parents don't want their children to get involved in this. Inconsistent roles and titles is part of it. You're going to be a mechanic over there? No, I'm going to be a GS person. Well, what's a GS person? What are you going to do? Are you going to do air conditioning? Well, they call me an AC person. We are so beleaguered with all of this crazy stuff that goes on in the titles that we have. And I'm going to take off my chef jacket right now, since I'm over the chef thing. And sorry, did you all have a chance to taste those really special Italian French fries that I make? Anyway. So look at the complexity of the vehicles, as this slide says, is a case for our language shift. And most consumers have no clue what it takes to repair their vehicles or the acronyms that we speak to them. and they go out to their car and they're starting to type in the acronym that they think they remember. What's a DVI? I've never done that, but I will tell you this. I'm sure it comes up as nothing like what we call it inside of our industry. We got to do an ADAS on your car. What the hell? We don't stop for 1 minute and say we have to calibrate your vehicle back to OE specs. Do we? And so if this language shift is about titles, it's also about the language that we share with our clients. And most important, thank God, be proud internally. This is who we are. This is what we want to call ourselves. But there's one other thing that's so important, and that is the outside looking in. When they're starting to be romanced, if you will, with this new language shift, it's going to make a difference in how they look at you. You know, the old know, like, and trust thing that we're all working our butts off in marketing to have. Well, this is part of it. This language shift is a very big part of it. So foundational support for internal and external language shift, which is I'm driving at internally, and what we say to our customers. And we want you to take this and run with it. I know shop owners out there, I've been in their places, seen the new business card with the word specialist on it, seen the honor posters with ASE and the language shift that's going on. Heck, I was at Apex this year, and I think it was Liz Perkins who came up to me, and she goes, "Carm, every title has been changed to follow your exact script." So I was so proud of that fact. These professional titles, I personally believe, are going to attract better talent, and I think it's going to elevate the public's perception of us. And think about it. Where did this word specialist come from? I don't want to go into the long story of that. I had to go to a specialist when I came back from Apex 2 years ago, and I was struggling with Chef, what's our word? And all of a sudden I said, "Where are you going today?" "Well, I'm going to that specialist I have to go to. Apparently they're going to try to save my life because something is not right." And I said, "Oh my God, that's our word. That's our word." And you heard the chef story. And so I'm trying to put some glue on this whole thing for you. So we've got mechanic, and we got wrench, and we got technician, we got diatech, we got ABC. We don't know what that means. Every shop has a different definition of that. We have GS people. And then the word Carm, I love the word technician. Stop it. The word technician is great. It's been there for 20 years. Let's stop it. Technician, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So the nail technician ad in the middle there. Nail technician needed. Smart ass Carm wanted to know if I could get my oil changed in the parking lot while I was getting my nails done. Because I see the word technician completely different, Craig, than I see, I see it as a nail person.
Yep.
And so there's an ad for Trippy Foods. They need to have an entry-level technician to work in their factory. There is a service technician for HVAC. We'll send a licensed and insured technician to your home. Do they fix cars? Because that's what we say to our client.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, they have technicians. Everybody, what's a technician's a watered down word today.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point. Oh, I love the word technician. It doesn't explain who we are in this high tech, purposely engineered industry that we're in. And then we're out at a beer brewery. I just gave my keynote 4 hours before this, right?
Yeah.
And we're all sitting at these big tables. This guy walks over, and what do you think the entire table said to him? They pointed at him and says, "You're a specialist." That's my daughter, Tracy, pointing it out.
Yeah. It was such a timely image. That was great.
Isn't that great? So, again, let me just drive the fact that specialists rule. Nothing's more powerful than an idea that's come in time. And I love these two words together because the word rule is trying to solidify to the industry, let's make it solid. Let's make it a rule, and let's get specialists going. Okay. So what do we have? Wow. This isn't even half of the people that go to school to be focused on a specialty. And when you think about what we do inside, yeah, we're probably all generalists. I get that. Because if there's 3 or 4 of us in a 6-bay shop, then all of us have to be kind of uniquely working on a lot of different things. But I guarantee you, if you stop and says, what do you specialize in? What are you really good at? Somebody is going to come up with, well, I'm really good with calibrations. Good, you're a calibration specialist. I'm in air conditioning and I know it really well and I love it. Well, you're a thermal management specialist today.
Mm-hmm.
Just like cardiologists and nutritionists and podiatrists and optometrists. These are people that specialize in making you better in one particular area. And if we say to our client who's at our counter, listen, our technology specialist will be all over that check engine light. What's that mean to you and us? And by the way, they're going through 80 hours of training each and every week. They've got some brand new tools that we bought that we know we're going to be able to troubleshoot and get to your problem right away. Let me tell you what we've got invested in the tooling and in the education for this individual to work on your vehicle. We don't stop and say that, not much.
Right.
We should be proud that we're ists, that we're specialists. We should be very proud of that. So it was at the end of our nose, Craig, right at the end of our nose for years. I'm at Andy Bishop's place in Chicago. God, this is a true story.
Yeah.
Guy walks in. He says, hey, listen, I'm Joe. I just called in about that check engine light. And the service professional behind the counter said, don't worry, Joe. Our Mercedes specialist will be all over this. And it really hit me so hard that the Euro shops have dialed into their Audi specialists or their Porsche specialists to their Mercedes specialists, their BMW specialists, and we choose to call ourselves mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. You can live and die on that mountain. I'm fine with that. But if we can't stop and learn what some of the other segments of our industry are doing, then shame on us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really a computer on wheels, no doubt. We're all about technology. So that was the first word I came up with. I said, listen, I got this thing, this ATech, this diag person. They're really a technology specialist or a technologist. It's still an ist, you see. So however you want to rule it, say that in your business. And then I was struggling with mechanic. And he says, oh my God, well, not everybody's going to be a technologist inside of our industry. And some people, and technologists don't want to do brakes anymore. And brake people say, I don't want to play with that computer code and stuff. So what do? We need to have a mechanical specialist. And how that flowed into my thinking, Craig, was we went from mechanic and said, well, mechanical. These are people, men and women in our industry that blindly, they can do a brake job in 20 minutes and have it be perfect because they're kinesthetic learners. They love to work with their hands.
Yes.
And so why not call them mechanical specialists and any other derivative below that? So mechanical and technology specialists will rule. This is the name change that I'm looking for. I call it a declaration on the rise of the specialist for our industry. I'm going to allow you to download this 10-page declaration. You could call it a white paper. It is chock full of how we started, a little bit about, the bear, a couple of paragraphs, not too much, but really getting into the meat of why this needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, being intelligent, focused, and educated and professional describes what the word specialist means, both in the doctoring business and now into our automotive service repair industry. Okay. And so every time I'm at a meeting, Craig, every single time I'm in, I'm in a business development group, a networking group, I'm anywhere in a sit down with my great friends in the industry. And they're always say, well, my tech this and my technician this and my tech. And all I do is I say in the back of my mind, I say the word specialist. As soon as they say technician, I say specialist. Well, it's a long word to say. No, it's not.
It's not. No.
By the way, it's 1/8 of a second more. Okay. And we have to learn to adopt this. And there's so many ways that we can do it. First of all, with the buy-in of our leadership in our industry. Okay. So why should we do this, everyone? Again, I can't say it enough. The word professionalism is the key binder to this language shift. And there are so many top shops that I've gotten to know over the years that have been on the podcast that are sharing their wisdom, their stories about overcoming this or creating that or invention of this. And if I say professionalism to them, they say, yeah, what about it? Yeah, we are. We do this. But it's the other segment of the industry that's up and coming that is looking, how do I stop digging this hole? Well, the rule of holes is you have to know when to stop digging.
Yeah.
And part of that is to buy yourself into some professionalism and get this language shift going in your business. You're not going to get up and say all of a sudden this day, you're going to need to print this document, give it to your people, they read it, you get together, and you have 2 or 3 huddles to discuss how we're going to implement this. Find out who the yes people are, find out who the naysayers are, and sell this as a new major culture shift in your industry. It's going to allow you to attract talent. Yeah, I know there's some SEO things about putting stuff up on Indeed. I get that. But you can also use the word specialist in the body of your ad.
Mm-hmm.
Career paths. Please. Can I tell the story about Johnny graduating from college? Okay. He decides that he wants to go to automotive school to be a mechanic. And he tells mom and dad, and they go, oh man, we were holding you. We were talking to you at 3 years old, and we saw this accountant and this doctor and this lawyer sitting there in front of us. And now all of a sudden you're telling me you're going to be a mechanic? Johnny, don't do this to us. Mom, you remember when I tore the toaster apart and I put it back together, when I was like 8 years old, and it toasted toast better than it did before? I love working with my hands. So he goes to the local community college. He gets a job at Carm's shop. He graduates. He comes to me and he goes, Carm, well, I graduated. I'm looking for a job. I say, no, you're not. You're looking for a career.
Yes.
Let me help define this for you. Now, you see Pete over there in the corner? You see that beautiful, all those LED lights? It's so bright and it's so white. Oh, by the way, you probably wonder why he's wearing the white lab coat and he's walking around with a tablet and he's got 4 computer monitors over there and he's got an earbud going on. He's got those special XR glasses going on. Well, he's our technology specialist. And I believe, Johnny, you have that capabilities. You've demonstrated some of that to us. You're a young person right now. I want to develop and show you a career path so you can get there. In the meantime, I want you to come on as a mechanical specialist. I loved you were doing such great work on brakes and timing and engine work before, and you were doing ball joint work. Listen, come on, here's your pay. And oh, by the way, you're entering a very, very high-tech career. I'm sure you learned that in school, but we're going to show you a pathway to technology like you've never seen before. There's 150 million lines of code in the Ford F-150. And so he goes back. Oh, by the way, mom and dad went to the club Friday night and they say, oh, so what's Johnny going to do for a living? And he says, well, Johnny is going to be a mechanic. And they go to the husband and wife and they said, well, that's really nice. So finally, he gets the job and they say, hey, did Johnny get a job? Yes. Is he going to be a mechanic? No, he's going to be a mechanical specialist over at Carm's place. Carm, that really nice big professional shop over there. There's 150 million lines of code. That car that we drive on those 4 tires, it's nothing but really a computer. My son's going into the computer business.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, because no one knows. That's where we are. Mm-hmm. That's where we are. So the career pathing and the power of perception in our industry. So where's our pride? I saw this really cool ad for chefs. Look at this. Isn't this neat? Let's go back to the chef story. All these great people are apparently, from wherever I found this is a chef pride post. And so my question is, why not us? Why not have a calibration specialist and the thermal management specialist on our website, or on a poster on the wall in our waiting room, or somewhere on a flyer or a handout? Joe Smith's my diesel specialist. Who says we can't? And the reason to adopt this new language and to come up with this new way to market and to be proud of our people, this is it, everyone. And we have the power of controlling this professionalism. We just don't want to go to work and come home and go to work and come home. Come on, let's lift. Let's get that customer perception from all the educators and all the counselors and all the parents out there. We're not talking enough about this. We're lazy. We think we're pretty confident we know what we're doing, but no one else does. The recruiting ads that we write, our internal dialogue, and the pride that we have for this great industry of ours. So I want to have a caveat here. Stop for a moment and say, we all know how to be sarcastic. And we can't be decisive on things. We wishy-wash all the time. And our internal language, it's disgusting sometimes. And even the look that we have, professionalism, really? I don't think you could adopt a language shift without changing some other things in your company. Thank you so much to Sherry Hamilton in the Vision name tag of last year. Technology specialist was on that tag. So appreciated. I was like, my feet didn't touch ground for 3 days at Vision of last year. I was so happy and so proud of seeing that. So let's talk a little bit about this language shift. We've talked about automotive service, mechanical specialist, technology specialist, but there's also, as I mentioned, the ADAS specialist can be a calibration specialist. And by the way, this chart, there's a much longer chart in the document. If you could download it and get it, and I'll show you how to get it later. A diesel mechanic is a diesel specialist. Air conditioning tech is a thermal management specialist. So all of these different kinds of old legacy versus new is available. And we even included, if you want to start changing some of your titles, listen, these are some of the ASE certifications that you'd want to be sure your people have to go along with those new titles. Now, we just didn't stop there. I announced this in a very raw form to about 25 shop owners in its rawest form 2 years ago next week. And I got so much great feedback. And the feedback as I was, we're in our version 24. Imagine version 2, 3, and 4 of this declaration. All this positivity started to come back at me. So we added another category. And these were the things that we do inside. Labor rate should be service rate. DVI should be vehicle performance and safety inspections. Appointments should be reservations. Loaners should be a courtesy vehicle. Training, education. Don't get me started on that. Cost, investment in transportation confidence. I'm sorry, it may take a few extra moments to say that, but think what it may mean to the receiver of those words. So this isn't just about the language shift for the titles that we have. It's about a professional language shift of what we say we do for our clients. Here's a shop owner that I know very well out of Springfield, Oregon, who completely changed all of his titles to mechanical specialist, technology specialist, and came up with a brand new pay plan for them. He was kind enough to share it with me. And how about a brand new business card that really touts the fact that this is who we are and what we do? Why not? Then page 9 of my declaration has a how to get it done checkbox. So I learned that from somebody. Carm, this is great. I love it. How do I do it?
How do we do it? Yep.
How do we do it? So I wrote page 9 and then I wrote page 10. And this is how this thing has evolved. This wasn't me in a vacuum. This was me and hundreds of other people contributing great ideas on how to implement it. So a final thought, education versus training. I'm giving my keynote, and I think it was about 5 or 6 months ago, and someone came up to me and says, this is where this whole shift to education happened. Because I talk about continuing education all the time, but I still find myself saying the word training. And someone said to me, Carm, it shouldn't be training. It's easy to say, we know what it means, but it's really education because Carm, keep in mind, Carm, we train dogs, Carm. And it really hit me hard, Craig. It hit me so hard. And I said, oh my God, yeah, give me your paw, give me your paw. Good boy, give me your paw. But when we go out to a training seminar at any seminar, for any seminar, any of our, they're not training. It feels like it. It's what we've called it for 30 years, but we're educating. How many times will a case study be repeated hundreds of times in the same day or in the next week that we're getting educated as to how this one thing was solved? It doesn't mean that training is going to make us do it just like it is again. When will it ever happen? Like a dog's paw. Yeah. Dog's paw is going to happen. Athletes go out, they train athletes for muscle memory and repetitive tasks. We educate people.
I think I'm going to have to change my department's title.
Yes, you're the VP of Education. That's what you are.
Yeah. Okay? Yep. My business cards are out of date.
I love it. Sorry, bud. Hey, Chris, I didn't mean this. Chris had to go spend $1,000 on new business cards. Oh my. So anyway, this whole career pathing and the hours that we need to invest in continuing education is there. Look, I did an episode. We're almost done here. I did an episode explaining this. I think it was almost a year ago now. There's the QR code that gets you that. Also, if you want to download the Rise, a couple of ways to do it. You can scan this QR code or go to remarkableresults.biz/downloads. You'll see all of our downloads there. Perfect. Get that. Now, I also have this really cool poster. Look at this. High-tech automotive careers happen here. Get it. Put it on your beautiful color printer and do me a favor. Go out and buy a plexiglass stand for your counter. Put this poster behind it. And I want your clients to look at that and say, are you kidding me? What is this high-tech thing all about? This is just a junk of metal. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Now we go through our story of why this is a high-tech career, not a trade. Perfect. And you know what? You never, ever know that you're going to find an individual who knows someone else who's got a young person that doesn't know what it is that they want to do, but they love technology. They love to fix and play with things. And if we don't get this word at this ground roots level, and that would be at the client level, we're going to lose long term. Mm-hmm. So listen, we're the Automotive Repair Podcast Network. There's all of our shows. Of course, Craig is up there. And our purpose is to advance the automotive service industry by facilitating all this great wisdom. And it's all about storytelling and open discussion. And we've been doing this for 10 years. We introduced our own app. Oh my God, our own episodic education app where all the shows appear on one simple app on your phone. No ads, no garbage to take you left or right. And it's all the content, fun stuff. In fact, we even have, I think that's my last slide, but we even have, if you scan that QR code, I think if you scan that QR code, you'll be able to go to our app page on our website and be able to download it. So that's it. And I swear, I'm so committed to this that I'm like bread. I'm always rising.
Carm, I love it. Yeah, this is one of those things I've noticed that the idea resonates. We get it. The next steps, a little bit harder. I was laughing when I was recording some of my latest episodes. I have my scripts typed out and everything ready to go. And I start recording and I realize I'm using the word technician and I'm using this word and this word and this word and this word. And I've been through the Rise document recently. And so Tracy probably has the blip somewhere in the outtakes because hang on, this is a great use for AI for me is I gave it my script and I asked it to use the language from your document and it replaced all the words for me and it helped me go right through without missing a beat. Yeah. But it's what it took for me.
Well, and I appreciate this. All the people inside of the network, everyone is getting on board with it. And here's why. I'm confident they see the value in this language shift.
Oh yeah.
Confident.
No, Carm, my grandpa used to joke sometimes. He'd walk through the shop and he'd have this. His joke is sort of along the lines of like, you have mechanics, and then sometimes you just got a canic in the shop, right? And it's like, oh my goodness, yeah, it's what like that the shortening of the word. And sometimes even jokingly, you mentioned sarcasm. Like we would do this internally all the time. We'd be like, instead of mechanic, we would do mechanic. Right.
Right.
And
Right.
all the things that go right along with it. But once you've embraced that sarcasm too long, it does. It affects you and
Yeah.
the appearance that you have versus the pride of recognizing the true integrity of the professionals that we're working with. The skills my brother has, like him and Matt Fonslow did an episode with him a little while ago. The knowledge that these guys possess, the level of education they have committed themselves to become true experts in their specific specialties, to just lop them into this one category would no longer do them
Right.
any
Right.
justice. And they wouldn't be able to deserve the price that their work is worth
100%.
without this language.
100%. This is what the document looks like when you download it. It's 10 pages. Wow, that's an awful lot. No. I think what you have to understand is when we explain this language shift to people, they go, "Oh, it's just another fad. It's just Carmy talking." But when you read the document and you maybe watch a video or you hear the speech, you start saying to yourself, "Oh my God, it makes more sense than I ever thought. Why was I going to be negative against this?"
Mhm.
Why? Because we are like that as an industry. Don't tell me how to do and what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling anyone. I'm suggesting. And so here's what happened. I haven't spoken this to too many people. When I presented this 2 years ago to 25 shop owners, I gave them a very rough outline of 3 or 4 pages of this concept. And when we were all done with this presentation, they said to me, "Carm, here's what you have to do. You cannot sell this idea to the industry. You have to tell it to the industry."
Mm-hmm.
I won't forget that. It's 2 years ago that I got that message from these shop owners, and there were a bunch of coaches there too. And so here I am selling.
Yeah, it's not like we need you to buy. It's like it's time to act.
I'm selling.
Yeah.
This presentation and this declaration is selling. It's selling a very strong and a very powerful idea. And you could wrap it up into the word professionalism, or you could wrap it up in a language shift, however you want to say it.
Yeah. Where do you see the biggest barrier on this right now, Carm?
Buy-in, people finding, in fact, I think it's a great time as the holidays are here and we're thinking about strategic plans and initiatives for next year. Here's the deal. If any individual shop owner falls in love with this, Craig, and say, well, this is cooler than cool, and maybe we got to really do this in the first quarter, you cannot do it alone. You have to get your people to buy in. It's got to be part of your culture shift. And one of the things that I suggest to people, if you get them to buy in, they read this thing and you start discussing this, is the day you want to implement solid 100% change, shift, whatever those language shifts are going to be inside your business, get a swear jar going. Anytime someone says the wrong word, you put $1 in the swear jar and you give it to charity at the end of the year.
Yeah. I'll say this too, Carm. I think getting the software organizations in line with this as well, with Autoflow, our user login page, we had, and I think this is the right term for our brains too. We hard coded the titles of staff members. Hard coded means that it's not customizable. It wasn't. It is customizable now, but we call them service writers, call them technicians, and then we have administrators in Autoflow. Those are the 3 options. That's all there was. Now, and for you Autoflow users out there, if you haven't already looked at this, you can change the language inside of Autoflow. You can go up to your admin menu and there's this new roles and permissions button, and you can create a custom role with the titles that Carm is suggesting. And then that will be the login that you can switch your users to. Works out really, really well. And I think that's just one small way that software can imitate life.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Chris, and our dev team. Yes.
Yeah, but it is smart to be. Here's how Okay, so someone drops this down and looks at that thing and says, wow, I never thought of that. Where's that coming from? So now that you've got this webinar, you can point people to so they can get the foundation of why they would want to make this shift.
Yeah.
Now we got something really strong inside of Autoflow, but by having these words spoken.
Yeah, and it matters. Like, dude, I catch myself all the time. The phrase tire banger is a real common one. As we work with a lot of tire organizations, and sometimes we don't maybe see our people as what we're hopefully grooming them to be, a tire specialist.
Yep.
Right. I think that no one would ever say a client facing word like, yeah, we'll just get our tire banger to go bang that on and like make you feel good about rolling down the road at 70 plus miles an hour. But that's what we're doing.
Of course, I've heard the word tire buster all my life too.
Yep.
Banger and buster.
Yep. Yep.
Meet my friends, Banger and Buster.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time that language is bust. So no, interesting. Yeah, this is hard though, because I will say this, technician was embraced. Like you said, and I'm glad you mentioned it too earlier, that the word technician has been embraced really well. And that, Carm, had been debatable. I had been through so many events now where some people like, yeah, when I say technicians, like, why? What's wrong with mechanic? You should be proud of that. And it's not like I'm not. It just doesn't describe who we are anymore.
Today. We have moved so far beyond the word mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, a highly respectable career 30 some years ago. I'm a mechanic. Oh, great. That means creative, works with their tools, has all kinds of great tools. There's nothing that this person can't do.
Mm-hmm.
I married a mechanic. Wow, you're never going to want for nothing. But today, because Hollywood has told us that mechanics are dirty and greasy.
Yep.
So let me. Do you have enough?
Sometimes they can always find a fix in a pinch, right?
Do you have 2 minutes?
Yeah, we've got time. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm giving this keynote to the University of the Aftermarket in Midland, Michigan, 2 months ago. And it was a really nice, tight group. It's Leadership 2.0 for auto care.
Nice.
I graduated from it 22 years ago. Okay.
Nice.
I'm an alumni. I'm coming back. I'm doing the Rise. The Rise is all done. I had a ton of great people in the industry swapping cards, really enjoyed this whole new think. Okay. Individual comes up. Everyone went off to lunch. Individual comes up to me with their business card. I looked at the logo. Pretty damn impressed. I don't know what their title was, but man, that was a big, important logo in my mind, right? Person come up to me and says, Carm, you just made a major shift in the things that I do for this company. And I says, wow, what is it? Well, I'm the individual who approves the ads that go out of the mechanics who are holding our tools and what they look like. And how many times do I send the ad back to the marketing people and says, can you make that tech look a little dirtier?
We just had a debate like that with some ads for Autoflow with our team.
Okay. And this individual came to me with a very high title in a very large, respected company and said to me, wow, you just opened my eyes. And my thought immediately was, who do you want to hold your tool? Someone who looks professional, uniform, clean cut, nice, tight looking beard, looks intelligent, knows they're competent, or someone who's just walked out from the under of a leaking transmission.
Yeah, those do leak a lot. It is messy. I understand.
There's my transmission hook for you.
Yeah. No, honestly though, Carm, it's an important distinction too. It's like by portraying the clean image, some people will say, like, that guy's so clean. He's obviously not been working on anything at all today. And that's the attitude that I could hear out of this. I remember Bob Green was my coach. I mentioned this in the comments as you started off, because so many of the times I know you and Bob were dear friends as well. And you know what he said, the trade days are over.
Right.
This is a
Right.
true profession. He was my coach for a while when I was still in the transmission shop. And I'm literally wearing the jacket and shirt right now. That was one of the first things that I went out and bought for nice clothing when Bob started to talk about this shift, not just in his language there, but also our appearance as well. Language and appearance, I think both things are very related. And I started dressing this way in the shop, walking around the shop. And initially, even the technicians were like, "Oh, you think you're better than us?" And of course, you throw the Bob Greenwood point in there. It's like, no, I'm not. I dress nice out of respect for the people that I'm meeting with. You're worth it. Right. So with our language too, the language that we're using isn't just for us. It's showing respect for the people that we're working with too, and that we're serving. And that perception, it changes your interactions when those service advisors or communication specialists in our shop are communicating with clients and they're dressed nice. It changes how that interaction goes. It does. And when you start to realize that, you will be hooked. And that's going to carry you forward and the rest of your team. And it becomes an example. And now it's the norm.
Do you know how I felt when I came out in the beginning with my chef's jacket on? Like a chef, even though I'm not one. I think the uniform changes your posture or attitude.
It does. It does. Yep. And the shops that don't have uniforms at all, or it's something other than that, some of you have heard the podcast where I was talking like my daughter's workplace. They say that they can wear sweatpants to work. I said, no, not this family. We don't go to work in sweatpants. I don't care what the policy is or how much of the smoothies that you're making spatter everywhere.
Good for you. Good for you. As a really quick side note, you mentioned Bob Greenwood. You know, I have by the way, maybe people don't know, but the Automotive Repair Podcast Network was started by Bob Greenwood. Him and I got together. And of course, after 19 episodes, we lost Bob. And then
Second Thoughts with Bob Greenwood, right?
Yeah, Second Thoughts with Bob Greenwood.
Still on there. I still listen to his voice.
Well, how about this? I have this really wild idea to release his archived episodes on the new app.
Oh, definitely. They're not on there yet, are they?
No.
Oh, we have to. Carm,
all right.
yes.
All right. If you approve, I have to just check with Tracy. That's all.
Oh, that's perfect. That's gold.
Yeah, he started us up. So anyway,
I don't know. A lot of people knew that. I didn't know that he was a component of starting up that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He was, if you will, my spark. I tried this with Bob, and then when I lost Bob, I immediately went over to Chris Cotton, and then we continued to add to it. And I got to tell you, I'm so proud of the fact that Bob believed in this. I mean, I ran this whole concept by him, and he goes, "Let's do this."
I love it.
Yeah, I know. And so I've got a real warm feeling in my heart for Bob, just like you do.
Yep. I tell you, life changing. Some of those characters that come in our life like this. And hey, this topic here is just an evolution of all of these connections and relationships and thoughts and dreams and ambitions that we all have. The people with this deep love for the industry that see its full potential. And so, Carm, I'm just really glad you've made, and I saw that in your document too, like your life's mission. And I think 10 years you said now it's been in the podcast. And I had to think about that for a second. I've been with Autoflow 8 years. And I was listening.
March, it'll be 11
years. Wow.
In March, it'll be 11. And we're so proud of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe 675 people in the industry that have shared their wisdom and come on board and gave us a shop tour, and we're on panels with us. And we just couldn't be happier to be a driving force in this industry for, episodic education. And you're one of them, man.
Yeah.
And look, Autoflow, what a great company. We thank Chris Cloutier and the entire team for supporting your show.
Yep.
And I met Chris a long time ago. I had to learn how to speak French when I met him.
Say his name right. I know.
Yeah, I know. And of course, he's just too much fun to be around. Yep. You have to have deep sleep before you go out with Chris.
Oh yeah, but no, I talked about it in a couple of I did that episode on the podcast, how I met Chris Cloutier, and it was through networking, and it was through Bob
Yeah,
Greenwood's
that's a
thing, and
great episode.
all
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
It was a meaningful one to even map out, as it forced me to sit and think about all the touch points there, and I think that's for this conversation as we wrap this up. That for each of you, like this language shift thing, you're in your middle ages or you're early in this industry right now. I remember when I was in my 30s, I still felt like a child in this industry. I'm in my 40s now, and I'm just starting to realize that, oh, wow, yeah, we're in this generation now. We're still receiving from the elders of our industry, but we're also rapidly becoming those people ourselves. And the influence that you have, you can't even imagine the trajectory shift that you can have on other individuals' lives. And don't think quantity. I mean, think quality of that trajectory change that you have on even just one individual in your shop. And that's the power of language and communication and networking and all these things. Because if there's just one life that's enriched through all this, it had been worth it. It will have been worth it. And there's a magnitude of amplification that we get by those one individuals over time. And for some of us who, like, I've been born and raised in this industry, and I have seen so many evolutions. And Carm, I can't even imagine for you. I don't know how many years you have on me. I'm guessing it's about a generation, but I actually don't know how old you are, and we're not.
Well,
Gonna force ourselves
and
to do
it's not important. It's
that.
how
It isn't. No.
it's if you can still stand upright.
Yeah, there it is. Or hunch over under a vehicle for some of us. No, Carm, thank you so much for doing this. Anyone that has any questions for Carm, you've seen some of the links as well. Please let us know. And I love some of the comments here, Dave. Yes, the color of your uniform matters as well.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I love that. And in fact, don't get me started on uniforms.
Mhm.
I mean, I can go on a 20-minute rant on uniforms. 20-minute rant on uniforms.
Oh, Carm, I had a situation. I walked into a shop back in the earlier days when I was just getting more involved with the association. ASA Michigan was still a thing. I was working with Ray Fisher, and I was going around trying to get some people to join us for the Bob Greenwood was coming to town. I was getting him to do a seminar in town in Grand Rapids. And so I was going shop to shop to shop to shop, trying to recruit these things. And I walk up to the counter in one shop and I asked if the owner's there. I am the owner. It's like, oh, guy's in a tank top and shorts sitting behind the counter. And just, I mean, I couldn't honestly tell he was anyone other than the customer in the shop. That's the top guy. And I get the humble approach, like you want to not be necessarily recognized as the owner, but sometimes there's some pride in ownership I would really like to see. Let them know. Let people know they're talking to the right guy.
It's
Let it
my
be a
business.
surprise.
I'll wear what I want. I'll do what I want. I'll say what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And those businesses are just hobby style business. I call them hobbyists.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to put down anyone who has that kind of position, attitude, posture on their business and or / the industry. But this is not professionalism at all. And that helps give us the bad name that we're always selling up and they're overcharging, and I could buy the part for, $1 and they're going to charge me 50. All of that stuff is, and just look through any kind of social media, you'll see the junk that continues to be plowed on us. And so we all have to do our part.
Yeah, we all have to do our part. So step one, download the document. Reach out to me here at Autoflow if you need any assistance on that as well, or you can reach out and Carm, the website again.
Yeah, remarkableresults.biz is the website /downloads. My email is carm@remarkableresults.biz. And more, I'll help you, get you started. I'll speak to your people, whatever. I mean, I'll tell this 40-minute story to your people. I'll do it.
Perfect. Carm, thanks so much for doing this again. You and Tracy got Thanksgiving dinner plans?
Yes. Oh my God. Eat a lot. Sleep a lot.
Perfect. I can only imagine these Italian Thanksgiving meals. They must be marvelous.
They are.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate you all joining us today. Thank you again, Carm Capriotto. This was a real privilege to be able to play host to you today, sir.
Honored
Honored as well to be part of your program. Thanks for having me.
Thank
you.
You.
Really affirming. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And remember to check out the new features in Autoflow for the rolls. If you have any questions, you know how to find us. Take care, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.